Call to order of a regular meeting of Goodyear City Council, Monday, November 10. I'd like to start with the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation, and I'd ask us all to join Cub Scout Pack 990 for the presentation of colors and the Pledge of Allegiance. And then would you all remain standing for the invocation by Councilmember Osborne. So would the Cub Scout Pack proceed?
Audience attention, color guard attention, color guard advance. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Color guard post colors. Color guard dismiss. Audience may be seated.
Will you please bow your heads? Thank you. Heavenly Father, our future is in your hands and the bodies of our youth. Please guide them and protect them. Tomorrow we honor our military veterans, the strong and brave men and women you have supplied to our nation. A nation under your glory, please continue to give strength and protect our military. Let them continue to fight for honorable reasons. Thank you, Lord, for their service. Lastly, Lord, please give this council wisdom and bring healing to those in need. In your mighty name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Let's all give a hand to the Cub Scout Pack. Good job. And we thank you for joining us, to the leaders and the pack itself, so thank you. Councilmember Souza will not be with us this evening. Could I have a motion to excuse him, please?
So moved.
Second. Motion from Councilmember Lord and a second from Councilmember Holland. All those in favor signify by stating aye, please.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, 6-0. We have no expenditures to approve or ratify, but we do have communications, and we have the CERT class, we have the Savvy Award, and the Valley Metro Blue Sky Award. So let's start with Tim Newble on the CERT class.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. How's everyone doing?
Good.
All right. Thanks for coming this evening. We're just here to introduce to the Mayor and to the Council and to each of you Class 0802. They survived another 10 weeks with me. Fortunately, they didn't have to just put up with me. So we're going to just be very brief, and as I call out their names, we're going to ask if the members of the CERT class would please stand. We have Jim Ellick. His wife, Terry, went through the class as well. She'll be meeting up with us later. Frank Garcia, even though he went to that one high school that I can't mention because my children go to Millennium, we allowed him to finish the class. Scott Kane. Jeff Kawaguchi, my man. I said it right. Al Osorio, John Radu, which I probably mispronounced again, Richard Stewart, Irene Sturgill. I do not believe Giselle is here, or Keith, and I did not forget about Olga. Wait a minute. Rodriguez. There we go. All right. The reason I wanted to introduce Olga last is I guess Olga enjoyed the class so much that she has here with her representing Macy's, the company that she worked for, HR Director Connie Chavez and VP of Operations Craig O'Connor. So they're here just to support. I also would like to share with the mayor and council that, I'm the one that get up in front and have the opportunity to speak, but people like Gail Boskeeter, Jeff Thomas, Linda Dillard, Dr. Nancy Schaefer, I believe she's back over there, Robert Marshall, that guy right there, Ron King, Teresa and Jim Orloff, they are volunteers, and also Sharon Carlson. They put in their time to actually give the instruction. And I want to thank you, council, for you have come out and you met with them and you thank them for coming. So this is class 0802. They survived another cert. So I also want to mention that we had a troop 892, that came out, and they were for the mock exercise. They had the opportunity to be victims. They did a pretty good job. All right, and actually, I didn't know that he was going to be here, but their troop leader is Dwayne Hager. I didn't know he was going to be here, but if you would please stand. I want to thank you very much for allowing them to come out and be a part of our mock exercise. They had wonderful things to say about the youth. So this is class 0802, and we want to thank you all very much for the opportunity.
I want to thank you, Tim, and your staff for another great job, and I want to thank Macy's for supporting this and coming out, and Dwayne, thank you. But mostly we thank you, and because you took time out of your lives, 10 nights, is that correct?
10 weeks.
10 weeks, one night a week.
One night a week.
And we might just need that expertise anytime in the future, so we thank you very much for supporting your city and your fellow neighbors. So thank you very much.
Great. Thank you all very much. You all have a good evening. We're going to leave now.
You're going to go party, I'm sure.
That's right.
Yes.
Paula?
Mayor and Council, I'd like to reiterate how very realistic cert night was. I was working that night, walked out in the hall, was scared to death. I saw some of the faces of those children. I'm happy to be here tonight on a much happier note. It's for the Savvy Awards that we won at the recent 3CMA National Convention. And I brought along Michael Leone, who's our graphic artist, and Kathy Hosian, who's the webmaster. They're very much the behind-the-scenes people who don't get enough credit for what they do. And I didn't go this year because I was in China, and Michael got to go up and accept all the awards. And it was interesting because they didn't tell us that we were a finalist for anything, and they were supposed to. So he was sitting there with the assumption that we weren't. The person next to him couldn't wait to get their award. They knew they were up for one. So lo and behold, he was the big winner of the entire night. So, good thing you were there. We have wanted to win for In Focus for so long that I even became a judge of the category once to figure out who was winning and why, because we weren't. So we entered this year. There are judges who judge citizen newsletters, and there are a different set of judges who judge citizen magazines, and these judges are all over the country. So we entered in both categories. And we won first prize in both categories. So whether you want to call In Focus a newsletter or whether you want to call it magazine, we won first prize, best in the nation.
Wow.
And of course, that's very much Michael's bag. You know, he's the one who, unfortunately, if I don't get it written in time, he's on the back end, and he's the one who has to work weekends to get it done. So, the next first place prize we got, unfortunately, the marketing department communications department can't take much credit for it. It all goes to the mayor and his staff. And this was, so, you know, I guess you've got great marketers too. This was for the Economic Development Marketing Award that our national organization gives. And we won it for the recruitment of the universities. So this one belongs to the mayor and his staff. I knew when this is fun. I've been able to enter that one 3 or 4 times. It's so unique that I just knew it was going to win because nobody else could. I knew nobody else had recruited 2 colleges and done it the way we did with the unique higher education conferences and everything. So they just were really shocked at such an effort that a city put on and said couldn't help but win first prize. The internal newsletter, the same page, which Michael basically puts together with a lot of information from IT and HR and then lays out, that one was it tied for second place. But since they didn't give a first place, we still feel we're best in the nation.
That makes sense.
Very odd that they gave tied for second and no first. No one had ever heard of that before. Also, the e-site. That's our internal intranet site, which is new this year. And it's about 1,500 pages and very much maintained by, and it was designed by Michael and Kathy. Kathy does all the maintenance on it with the help of some of the departments that really, like HR and IT does a lot on that site. So it's a lot of work. We didn't enter our website because our new website wasn't up yet. Next year, our main website. This year, our e-site took second place in the nation. So I just wanted to say that we're really proud of this. We're proud that you give us the opportunity to do this, especially with InFocus, because InFocus is a very unique piece, and we're able at this point to deliver that annually to our households for less than $5 per household. So I would say for spending only $5 to communicate with our residents, it's really a remarkable piece. And thank you for giving us the ability to mail it in home, because results are what gets us these awards, and the results prove that 89% of our population is reading it, and 71 read it cover to cover. So that's really good news. Thank you.
Would you stay there, Paula? Ask the council if you'd like to comment also, but before I do, I was talking to Betsy, and Betsy was in the newspaper world for a couple of years, and she said that this is a really huge award. This is important across the country. So, big one. Thank you very much. Would anyone like to comment?
Oh, yeah.
Let's start with Brenda then.
Okay.
And then
I just want to say, we're so proud. I mean, and it's exciting, and the people came in to kind of get these accolades because that's so important. Like you said, a lot of them are behind the scenes. I've worked with Michael on a couple of things, and I think it's just great. It almost makes you speechless, because I'm sure it surprised Michael when he was called up there over and over again.
Big sweet.
Oh, yeah. This sounds good, though. So proud. Thanks.
And I, too, want to say I'm very, very proud of what you've done, and the city. It makes me feel good about when I go someplace. It's because of these kinds of things that people know us, and they know who Goodyear is, and they know Goodyear, the name Goodyear goes along with a quality development, a quality city. And I just want to say congratulations. Did a great job, and thank you so much.
Thank you. As a result of InFocus, we hope people say they live in Goodyear, and that's one of the reasons we wanted people to be proud they live in Goodyear, and not that they live in Australia or Pebble Creek. But when they go out of the city, they tell people they live in Goodyear.
That's exactly right, because they live in Goodyear, and this is Goodyear.
Right.
In fact, even all weekend, the Goodyear blimp being parked down there at the airport is great. It's as though someone personally puts that thing down there because this is the city of Goodyear, and we're advertising Goodyear. And I don't know how many people know this, but that little shoe, the Mercury shoe, just a little side, that was the first, with the history that I picked up, that was the first icon for the city of Goodyear, was that Mercury shoe in the center of the Goodyear, and it's in the center of the blimp. Anyway, just a point. It just makes you proud to even see that, anytime you see the name Goodyear. And this is an example. This is great.
Vice Mayor, comment?
No, I mean, it makes you proud. I think what's most amazing, I mean, you just said it. You said, what, $5 a year per resident?
$462.
$462. So okay, I had the math done. Thank you. I was thinking it was like 60, what? I mean, $462 works out to about 40 cents
46
a
cents.
month that you deliver that.
We're now doing about 10 issues as a
10
result
issues.
of the
Okay,
budget
so
cut last year.
50, all right, so but 50. So
be a
for
little
50
less
cents
next
an
year.
issue, you're delivering a great amount of information to each and every mailbox in the city of Goodyear, and I think that's a phenomenal feat. If we were to invest that money in technology or radio or traditional advertising that corporations do, to have the return on that, I mean, if we were a private corporation, the return on that 50 cents an issue, or 462, is that what you said? Would be huge. So I appreciate it. And I appreciate it opening it up this month and seeing that you had taken that cost-effective measure to a next step. And you added the rec. Did I just steal something?
That's all right.
I had no idea. I'm sorry. Okay, well, Georgia noticed it too, but I was really pleased to see that you'd add the rec programs on the back end of that, and I'd gotten it rather than getting a separate piece in the mail. So that was a surprise to me. I didn't realize that
was a neat
happening.
idea.
So
That's
keep
how
doing.
that's how we got our All-America money.
Keep doing.
Was it?
Yeah, we had to come up with our own. There was no budgeted money for All-America, so this year we managed to. We'll use those cost savings to put the All-America signs up in our city on the traffic stanchions and on the banners, and some other smaller things that we're doing. And then next year, those savings can go toward the budget savings.
Good job.
Well, I was just going to congratulate you, and I did bring it with me to show, because it was pretty outstanding. And I went in and talked to her today, because I wanted to know how much more it costs, and actually it was less.
I can tell you.
So, in the down times, we really appreciate it. And you didn't relinquish any of the quality. And so, good job, really good job.
Well, being one of those private corporations that know what these things cost, I can tell you, high quality, first class, and at a great price. You can't beat it. And when I heard that you got the awards before, I called you the Media Marvels, and I still, to this day, believe that. Got a great team. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It is a great team.
Okay.
Thank you.
One more applause for that.
Thank you, Paula. I work with Paula quite a bit, and it's always a joy or a challenge, one of the two.
We all know that.
But good work, Paula and
Thank you.
Michael and Kathy. But Paula was also instrumental in the All-America City, by the way. So she was very much, and I think you wrote the Most Livable, didn't you? Yes. So, which brings us, probably by the end of the year, we should compile all our, this has been a really good year for Goodyear, and we need to really see where we are and what we've achieved this year, and let everybody know about it. Obviously, you know how to do that. You just proved it, didn't you?
I think your next one ought to kind of slap Eli's bosses in the face, because they recently had something that said Goodyear more than just a tire, I think, in an editorial. So, not picking on Eli, but somebody mailed it to me in the mail, and so I saw that. We definitely are more than just a tire, that's for sure.
Okay, good work. I think, Frank, you're up.
Okay.
And the Valley Metro Blue Sky Award.
Mayor and council, this is the Blue Sky Award that was given at the 2008 Clean Air Campaign Awards Luncheon hosted by the Valley Metro. And this was presented, this was the highlight of the evening. This was the last, of the day. It was a luncheon. This was the last award presented, and it was presented to the City of Goodyear and the West Valley Hospital in partnership. We each received a special award. We don't have to share this one. This one's ours. And it was at the luncheon at the Arizona Biltmore Spa and Resort and Spa on October 28th. The City of Goodyear and West Valley Hospital became partners in developing a solution for West Valley commuters. The hospital made the land available for the City of Goodyear to build a park and ride lot at Cornerstone Boulevard and McDowell Road to service the Valley Metro Express Route 562. The route filled a much-needed void for residents commuting from the Southwest Valley to downtown Phoenix. Commuters park for free and save money on gas while contributing to better air quality. The new bus route kicked off on July 28th with 3 buses and many cars in the park and ride lot. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Phil Gustafson from the West Valley Hospital for becoming a partner in this endeavor. And this, I think, is unusual because this is what we can do with a partnership between our businesses, our community, and the city. And Vice Mayor Antoniak was one of the first riders on that bus that morning also, so both of us took a ride downtown, and it was great. This is an express bus. There are 3 buses that leave at 20-minute intervals, and they leave in the morning early, and then they return that evening around 5:15, or whatever that time is. Anyway, I'd like to present this to the city. If you, I'll just put it.
I would only add that Frank Cavalier has been on the RPTA for a while now, and he never misses a meeting, and he is a very active member of that. So, Frank, thank you for all you do for us on RPTA.
Thank you.
Okay, any other comments from council, or shall we move on? Okay. There's another award there, Paula.
Yeah, stack it up.
Okay. Opportunity now for anyone from the public to address the council on any subject which is not on this evening's agenda. Would anyone like to comment on a non-agenda item? Seeing none, we'll move to the consent agenda and ask the city clerk to read items A through C by title only, please.
Item A, approve draft minutes of a work session and a special meeting held on October 20th, 2008. B, approve the 2009 City Council meeting schedule and calendar. Item C, approve the issuance of a utility easement to Arizona Public Service Company within the Goodyear Ballpark to allow the placement of electrical equipment necessary to provide electrical service to the Goodyear Ballpark.
Okay, thank you. Would anyone in the public wish to remove an item from the consent agenda? Would anyone on council wish to remove an item from the consent agenda?
Question, Mayor, if I may. Sarah, is this something I should recuse myself on or not?
C.
C, item C. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Could I have a motion, please?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the consent agenda as read by the clerk.
Second.
Motion from Vice Mayor Antoniak and a second from Council Member Osborne. Roll call vote, please.
Vice Mayor Antoniak.
Aye.
Councilmember Cavalier.
Aye.
Councilmember Ward.
Aye.
Councilmember Holland.
Aye.
Councilmember Osborne. Aye. Mayor Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Passes 6-0.
Okay, we'll now move to our business agenda and start with the public hearing to consider the special use zoning for Vineyard Christian Fellowship West Valley Church. And I'll open a public hearing. And Brett, you got it.
Thank you, Mayor Kavanaugh, members of the council. This is a request for approval of a special use for the Vineyard Christian Fellowship West Valley Church to be located in an existing commercial center, which is located at 255 North Litchfield Road. This is generally located at the southeast corner of Litchfield Road and Van Buren Street. The existing land uses and zoning surrounding the subject property. First of all, you can see the subject property highlighted in red, Van Buren Street, Litchfield Road. So to the north, we have the Palm Valley Crossing Commercial Center, which is zoned PAD. To the south, there is a residential area, the Litchfield Manor subdivision, which is zoned R17. That's approximately 100 feet away. To the east, there is some commercial property, which is zoned C2. And to the west is the Goodyear Financial Center, City Hall, which is zoned C2. As you can see on this aerial photo exhibit, there are two existing driveways off of Litchfield Road into the center, here, and there are also two existing driveways on Van Buren Street. The zoning ordinance prescribes that churches may be considered in any zoning district with a special use application. And the special use application is required to ensure that the proposed location and the establishment of the use will, number one, be desirable or necessary for the public convenience or welfare, and number 2, be harmonious and compatible with other uses adjacent to the site. As I mentioned, this church is purchasing a subdivided lot within a commercial center. This lot and building space was purchased by the Infinity Fitness Center in 2004. This lot, highlighted in red, includes 57 parking spaces. And you can see a lot of those parking spaces that this building owns are behind the building in this area here. Moving on to this exhibit. This exhibit shows the existing building with what the new signage may look like. The architectural theme for the proposed church will not change. The church would not propose to change anything on the exterior of the building. So there would be no church bells. There would be no noise being emitted from this building. Just a little bit about the church. The church conducts their primary church services on Sunday mornings from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. In addition, the church intends to utilize this building space for its office staff and for smaller group meetings and seminars that may be scheduled at various times throughout the week. The applicant has noted that these smaller group meetings may be attended by approximately 30 to 50 members. The church averages approximately 140 members at its Sunday morning service. The church has indicated that the assembly area for this building would include about 5,000 square feet, and based on the zoning ordinance requirements, they would need about 67 parking spaces. And as I mentioned before, they would own 57 parking spaces. Although the church would be deficient by 10 spaces, this commercial center does have a cross-access and a cross-parking agreement for the center. The planned church services and the activities and the events that the applicant is proposing in the application are those that are customary for a typical religious institution. The Sunday morning service would draw the most attendance, and that would be the time in which the majority of businesses in the commercial center would be closed. On October 2nd, there was a citizen review meeting to discuss this case with the neighbors. We did receive, 3 people attended the meeting in addition to the applicant, and we did receive 4 letters of opposition from adjacent businesses. We also received 2 letters of support from adjacent local businesses, and about 2 weeks ago we received an additional correspondence of support from the JB's restaurant owner at the northwest corner of Litchfield Road and Van Buren Street. The letters of opposition and the discussions at the citizen review meeting were primarily concerned about the amount of parking in the commercial center and the parking that would be available. Some of the local businesses expressed concern that the congregation may grow and become too large and would have a negative impact upon their businesses and even take away parking spaces that would be immediately adjacent to their business front. They noted that they require and depend on adequate parking, and they asked about weddings, funerals, and other social events that may also potentially take up parking in the commercial center. The applicant responded that funerals typically consist of no more than 100 attendees and that they are typically held at funeral homes and off-site locations. The applicant also stated that other than the main Sunday morning service, the typical meeting size would include 30 to 50 meeting attendees. And the applicant clarified during the meeting that the congregation consists of right now 140 church members. The ratio of vehicles to parking, the ratio of people to vehicles is approximately 2 to 1. So with 140 members right now, they have approximately 70 vehicles that would be utilizing this parking area. Additionally, at the citizen review meeting, a local building owner expressed concern that they thought the church was not an ideal use in a mixed-use commercial center, and that changing the use from retail to church may result in the loss of property value and also loss of tax revenues to the city. The applicant responded that the church members will likely utilize the services of adjacent businesses in the center after church services, and may have a positive impact upon the existing businesses that are there. If I could quickly walk you through the stipulations in the staff report, there are 5 stipulations that staff has placed on there. The stipulation number 1 was placed on the special use application to ensure that the church conducts the primary church service on Sunday mornings when the majority of businesses are closed. And number 2, since most of the parking associated with this property is in the rear of the property, the applicant has agreed to utilize a door on the east side of the building to ensure that parking area would be able to be easily used by church patrons. And number 3, the stipulation number 3 is on there to notify the future landowner of the proximity to the Phoenix Goodyear Airport and the potential for development in that area. And number 4 is reminding the applicant that they will need to comply with the building code as they change the use for that building. And finally, the stipulation number 5 was placed on the special use application, which allows the city to revoke the special use in the event that it is not operated in compliance with the stipulations that are provided, or if the use somehow generates an excessive amount of parking or traffic, which interferes with the normal operation of other uses that are located in the shopping center. Staff and the Planning Commission find that the application satisfies the review criteria for the special uses contained in the zoning ordinance. However, since staff has received 4 letters of opposition for the special use cannot be approved without a 3/4 vote of the council. And a vote is not being requested at this time. The city attorney's office would like to further research the voting requirements and postpone this action until the next meeting. So with that, this concludes staff's presentation, and staff is available to answer any questions that you might have. The applicant is also here to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay, thank you. Opportunity for the public. Any comments from the public? This is a open public hearing. Any comments from the public? Would the applicant like to speak now, or you can speak now and next week, or both? It's up to you. Is the council going to agree to continue this until next week?
That's what's necessary.
Yeah.
That's the recommendation.
Yeah.
Staff, right?
That's what's on there.
That's right. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, City Council members. I've been a West Valley citizen my whole life. I was born and raised in the area, went all the way through the school system, and what I'd really like you to know is I care very much about the West Valley, and it's the well-being not only of our church but the businesses in the area. I've been involved with churches that have met in 3 different commercial centers like this situation. I'm keenly aware of the needs of the businesses adjacent to us, and as I mentioned in the Planning and Zoning Commission hearing, without even having been asked, we would have policed and will police the parking lot situation so that our neighbors, the businesses next to us, will have ample parking, and not to mention the fact that I feel absolutely certain the members of our congregation will patronize the businesses nearby. We're drawing families from every surrounding city, even as far as Chandler at times. So I believe this church will be a good use in here, especially considering our main needs for parking is completely opposite the times that the businesses will need their most parking. And I feel that our people, especially the restaurants after church, will heavily patronize those. And I want the council to understand that we would be very careful to take care of our neighboring businesses and their interests. So if you have any questions, I'd be
Thank you.
happy to answer.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to, again, any comments from the public? Close the public hearing, and we have a recommendation from the attorney to continue this. Could I have a motion, if anyone agrees with that?
Is the recommendation to continue it to next week? Or what?
Continue it to the next meeting?
Yeah, after the motion.
Yeah, right.
It was till next week?
No, to the
Next-
next scheduled meeting.
Okay,
which I
next
think is-
scheduled meeting. Okay.
Mayor, I move that we table the item till the next regularly scheduled meeting.
Second.
I have a motion from Vice Mayor Antoniak and a second from Councilmember Lord. Open for discussion. Councilmember Lord?
I'll be very interested if it's concerning the parking, because in the city center discussion, we have discussed partnering in parking, because otherwise we're going to have a four-corner quadrant full of parking spaces and a lot of cement. So we talked about businesses that are open during the day, the restaurants that are open at night will use those parking spaces. So I think our decision is going to affect other parts of our city. So that would really be a concern to me, that when you're researching this, we could research it with that in mind.
I'll just add to that I understand your points, and really in the last 7.5 years that I've dealt with planning and zoning with our city, that's always been a key issue is parking and compatibility. And I see how theirs would actually be a good partner in the same reasonings that you're stating. They're off times compared to other busy times. And, you know, the other concern I had that was already addressed was their presence will not affect a liquor license for a restaurant in the vicinity. And so that business is not affected by that. And I guess we'll discuss it later in the others.
And
Councilmember Holland?
just a comment about growth. You know, usually churches want to grow and they increase the congregation, and that's a good thing. But once you do that, going back to the parking issue, you're going to have more and more people coming in, more meetings during the week, because you'll be trying to absorb the new people in, and I think that's a concern that you need to come back with as well.
Mayor, can I just ask one more thing? Talk. Go. Can we also look into the legality of shared parking across the street?
Across,
Because, I mean,
Van
I don't know
Buren?
what,
Oh,
well,
that's
that's right
good.
across from the city hall, right? It's-
yeah, but there's also the shopping center across the street, too.
Yeah, and I'm
Across.
thinking about our parking lot on weekends,
Yeah.
which nobody uses on the weekend. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out, that's additional parking spaces where people could park if that was
Overflow.
legal, with a special permit for those times. So, you could put that in also? Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Cavalier?
I have another concern. We did this with another church some time ago, and that church moved into a business, commercial area. And we had problems with, and I just want to assure you, we don't want anything like tent signs or lean-to signs put up outside, because this is what happened in that situation, and it became very ugly, and the merchants in that area complained very much about having that kind of a unreasonable signage out in front of their building. So just want you to assure us that everything you do is on the inside, and I suppose what you do as far as what you put on your windows or whatever, but it would be fine within reason. But the fact that we set out tent signs or set out any kind of anything out in front sometimes takes away from the class of the building, and we don't want that to happen. As far as the parking goes, I don't know. That could be a problem. Does that fitness center that's near there, is that still there?
That's what they're occupying.
That's what they're going to take.
Okay, so it won't be there anymore. No, okay. Okay.
Correct statement?
Yes,
That is,
we're moving, or would like to move.
oh, okay. Well, then that's not an issue. Because generally, weren't you open on Sundays too?
We are, and I don't know if we've had over 3,000 members. Sorry. Yeah, we are open on Sundays. We've actually have over 3,000 members at our fitness center, with over 150 showing up over a 2-hour window. So we've never had a parking issue in our center, and actually those pictures that depict the back parking lot, except for the grand opening of the Goodwill, that was the only time that I've ever seen anyone use that back parking lot. So in the 5 years or so that we've been there, we've never had a parking issue, and we've had over 3,000 members and 150 showing up in a 2-hour period. So, we're planning on moving, so we will no longer be there, and then from our calculations, about only 88% of the other stores are not open on Sunday, which would be their business time. So that's why we thought it was compatible. Did you have any other?
Vice Mayor?
I don't have a question for you, sir. I wasn't going to say anything, but given Councilman Cavalier's remarks about signage and sandwich boards and that sort of thing, all I would ask staff, because sometimes we say something, one of us says something, nobody objects. I don't necessarily object to the tenor of his remarks, but if we're going to police sandwich boards on Sunday morning, we better step up code enforcement, because every single church in town puts out sandwich boards.
Right.
So oh boy, you got to come down the hill on Sunday morning, sir, and
you're right,
drive
Rob.
around. But there are sandwich boards at every major intersection. So I don't personally object to that. Folks are trying to seek, believers and bring them an amount of faith that they seek. And sandwich boards a couple hours over the weekend don't bother me. So
Well,
not
I only
to
made that-
object.
No, I only made that remark because that
Sometimes
was an
staff-
objection for another church that went into a commercial area, and the other merchants in that area objected to that. In fact, it's so long ago, I think I was on P&Z at the time. I don't think I was even on the council. But it just reminded me that was the last time I think we had this issue come forward. And at that time, it was an issue, but I hadn't realized that is something that's happening.
Common practice.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
As long as they're not there permanently, I guess. That's the.
I got a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion to continue to the next council meeting signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, 6-0. Now move to the second item on our agenda, and the public hearing on a resolution of intention for the formation of special public improvements to authorize the recovery of the cost of sewer system improvements. No action is recommended at this time. Open the public hearing. Harvey?
Mayor, Council, this is a request from Liberty Property Limited Partnership to form a special public improvements cost recovery area, which is this section of land, which is bordered on the north by Camelback, on the south by Indian School, on the east by North Cotton Lane, and on the west by Citrus Road, a section of land, 640 acres, where the Liberty property wishes to install sewer improvements in this area to serve their property as well as other properties. The city is proposing to extend a sewer line to serve these two sections of land, which are in the city's service area. This area is what is known as Sedea. If you recall, Talaverde is in this area. And the sewer line would go from McDowell Road north on Citrus Road up to the intersection of Citrus and Indian School. And at this point, this would serve Sedea as well as serve this section of land. The developer get that in there. This is a map of that 640-acre parcel. The developer or the applicant for the cost recovery special is Liberty Property Limited Partnership, and this is the section of land that these sewer improvements would serve. They are proposing to take the sewer line that the city would install at this point, extend it along Indian School, and then it would be extended through their property, and as well as being able to serve Talaverde, which is a residential property currently, but there is a general plan amendment in the works to change the land use to industrial in that particular application is scheduled for a public hearing next week before the City Council. These sewer improvements are approximately the estimated cost of these sewer improvements are about $3 million, of which about $873,000 would benefit Liberty, which the balance would be about $2.1 million of sewer improvements that would benefit these other property owners. And the cost recovery program is a way for Liberty, who installs the improvements, to be able to recover that $2.1 million or whatever the actual cost of those improvements are over a 15-year period. There are 14 different property ownerships within this section of land. The staff notified all of the property owners at least 60 days before this public hearing. We also did some other additional outreach in cooperation with Liberty Property. We had a property owner stakeholder meeting on September 16th at City Hall. We hosted that meeting, and the property owners came, and Liberty provided an overview of the project, and the property owners were given an opportunity to ask questions about the project, and there weren't any opposition to the project at that particular meeting. The Liberty is planning, when the market is better, at some point in time, to construct 2 spec industrial buildings, and the sewer improvements would provide service to those. About a 217,000 square foot building in this area, and around 500,000 square foot spec building in this area, spec industrial buildings. However, at this point in time, until market conditions warrant, that vertical construction probably won't occur. At this time, as the mayor indicated, this is just a public hearing. No action is being recommended by staff. We have a resolution of intention before you, and that resolution of intention would create the special cost improvements area program, and it also provides for a reimbursement development agreement that the city would enter into a cost reimbursement development agreement with Liberty Property Trust, and staff is negotiating that, and it's not ready at this point in time, so we would come back to you at a later date with the resolution of intention as well as the development agreement. Mayor, that concludes my comments. If you have any specific questions, I'm available to respond, as well as Ed Bull is here to represent Liberty Property.
Okay, opening up to the public, we'll start. Ed, applicant, would you like to speak on any part of it? Okay, thank you. Open to the public. Would anyone from the public wish to comment? Okay, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. And we'll move to the 3rd, 4th, and 5th items on our agenda. Rick Williams will be presenting the next 3 items, all relating to Rose Garden. And action will be taken separately on a resolution for a development agreement, an ordinance to rezone, and a preliminary plat.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Before you tonight is a request by the Silva Farming Enterprises to rezone 157 acres that is located on the southwest corner of Van Buren Street and Citrus Road here, for a community called Rose Garden Development, which also contained 8 acres of commercial located here on the corner, as well as a 9-acre public facilities district for a future fire station and water campus. Now, the rezoning action itself necessitates the need for a development agreement between the city and the owner of the property. Council entered into a memorandum of understanding in May of 2005 with 16 owners in the West Central Goodyear planning area. The Silva Farming Enterprises is a participant in that memorandum of understanding. The development agreement you have before you this evening mirrors that MOU. However, there are 2 slight differences in that, and I just would point those out real quick. As I stated, this development contains an 8-acre commercial parcel. It also contains the future water campus and fire station. Also contained in that development agreement is a provision that states in the event that the residential portion happens before the fire station or public facilities district, the developer has agreed to improve the roadways in front of the fire station and is subject to reimbursement through impact fees. As well as the corner here with Van Buren Street and Citrus Road, in the event that the commercial development precedes the signal at that intersection, the developer has agreed to install that intersection, or install that signal. They would be responsible for 25% of that, and they would be reimbursed for the other 75%. Currently, the property sits vacant. It is zoned agricultural, and it has a low-density residential development according to the general plan. Now, the Rose Garden development proposes 136 acres of residential, 8 acres of commercial, and the 9 acres of the public facility. It proposes 4 different lot sizes, 60, 65, 70, and also has a Z lot that would be buffering the proposed commercial. There are 3 access points to the development, one along Van Buren Street, one Citrus Road, and to the south here on Harrison. The development proposes 32.4 acres of open space, or 23.8%. It's centered around a 5-acre central park with pocket parks located throughout the development, as well as an open space trail that leads to the southeast corner of the development, which will eventually connect to the school site that will be located in the Canyon Trails development. We had a citizen review meeting on May 28th. We had a couple of residents from the Canyon Trails development that lived along this edge of the proposed property. Their main concern was they thought there would be a collector road coming down there and an entrance into the development. They were pleased once they were shown that there was no access to along their boundary there. Other than those comments, there was no opposition to the development. Staff is recommending approval subject to the stipulations you have before you this evening in the staff reports. That concludes staff's presentation. The applicant is here, is available for any questions or comments, and I'll close it at that.
Okay, thank you. We'll start with the development agreement, and I'll first ask for comments from the public. Any comments from the public or the applicant?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, my name is Andy Warren. For your record, my address is 3101 North Central in Phoenix. I'm here on behalf of the property owners who are with me tonight, John Silva and Lucy Kaser, the owners of the property. Just with respect to development agreement, this is, I believe, number 13 of these MOU development agreements that you've approved. And except for the minor differences that Rick pointed out to you, they're almost identical in language. So no real changes. We're basically entering into an agreement, as you recall, that we will be paying a lump sum right before, after approval of final plat, but before recordation of final plat, that will cover wastewater, water, fire, both one site and O&M for the fire station, and providing money to the city to administer the cost recovery ordinance. So again, this will be very familiar to you because this is number 13 that you've approved in the last couple of years.
Okay, thank you, Andy. Further comments from the public? Ask the clerk to read the resolution for the development agreement by title only, please.
Adopt Resolution 08-1272, approving a development agreement with Silva Farming Enterprises, LLLP, regarding the infrastructure development of 157.23 acres, generally located at the southeast corner of Van Buren Street and Citrus Road within the city of Goodyear, and providing for an effective date.
Could I have a motion to approve the resolution?
Move to adopt.
Okay. I propose we adopt Resolution 08-1272, approving the development agreement as read by the city clerk.
Second.
I have a motion from Councilmember Cavalier and a second from Councilmember Holland. Open for discussion.
Now, I added these all up, and I came up with, I think, the same total you did. This, so it's $7,908 and change per unit for each one of the units that will be put into that development, right? When you add all the fees, wastewater treatment fee, bottleneck truck fee, water facilities fee, fire, cost recovery, administration, everything. Is that correct? Someone have?
Mr. Mayor, Councilman Cavalier, I'm not sure if that's correct. If you've added up the
Well, I
numbers
added them
staff
all
gave.
up, and that's, but is that, now,
No, what I might say is that the staff report covered the fees in the development agreement, and it also talked about police and transportation fees, which I don't believe are part of the development agreement. Rick was just informing you. So there may be other fees that are part of every
that's
building
gonna be-
permit.
that's where I was heading.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And so it will be a smaller number. If we'd have to subtract out the 417 per unit for police and the 824 per unit for transportation development fee, and then what remains would be what the development agreement calls for. But we still have to pay building permit fees.
Okay, well, my concern is that we get started on this and the city starts building into this situation, and then something happens, the bank comes along and says, wait a minute, I'm foreclosing on you. I mean, this is happening now, and that's the only reason I bring it up. I would never bring this up, except that this is happening to a lot of properties as of late. Is your company in that kind of a situation, or are we pretty concerned? Are you pretty well developed in the fact that you have the finances to carry this through without waiting for a bank loan?
Mayor and Councilmember Kavanaugh, I'm happy to answer that question. We do not yet have a developer for the property. So our company is actually the property owners who will be eventually teaming with a very solvent and capable developer, whoever that may be. But I should mention that the way that these are set up to pay, if I may remind you, is at final plat,
Right.
we would be paying that amount, and we're far from final plat right
Okay.
now. So I think we'll have a much better understanding of the finances at whatever time that.
Well, and it states in here that at final plat, you'll be paying those fees. So I just wanted to make sure that we understood that. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, seeing no further discussion, could I have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Cavalier.
Aye.
Councilmember Lord.
Aye.
Councilmember Holland.
Aye.
Councilmember Osborne.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Antoniak.
Aye.
Mayor Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Passes 6-0.
Okay, now we'll move to the rezone, and it's already been briefed by staff. Are there any comments from the public relating to the rezone? Is that correct? You have briefed, yes. Anything else?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I think Rick did a very thorough job in pointing out the generalities of the development. I just wanted to point out a couple more things because I know there were some questions on that. What I did want to mention is that, first of all, we don't own this parcel. This is now owned by the city, and that's where you're going to be putting a water campus and a fire station. But it made sense to rezone it because it's still just agriculture right now. So as part of this PAD, that public use is being added in the rezoning. We're partnered with you on that. As Rick mentioned, we're doing an 8-acre commercial parcel, and then the rest is residential. We're very proud of our product here. We have been able, through the mechanism of the PAD, to come up with 4 different lot sizes and varieties, and between each one of them will have various elevations, and through our development standards that are included as part of the PAD booklet that become part of this case then, we have the opportunity to provide a lot of diversity and opportunities for people on our lots and on our homes and on our elevations. One of the things I did want to point out is our open space and trail system, because that's something we're really pleased with and how this all turned out. We have, Rick mentioned that we have a 5.1 acre centrally located park. I should also mention, though, that our linear park flowing this way adds up to 6.1 acres. And the reason we've done this is, as you're aware, Canyon Trails Unit 4 West is over here. They have a large I should move this up. They have a large open space area in here, and then there's the school. I think it's off this way a little bit. And our purpose in this linear trail system is to be able to direct mostly our children, but also people heading towards these open spaces, towards the school and the parks that are located over here as well. Because of that, we've put meandering trails going through the linear park space and through the central park. Our meandering trail is 8 feet wide that goes through all of that. It's going to be concrete. It's going to be high and dry. When you add up the centrally located park, the linear park, and then each of the separate developments has its own pocket park with tot lots and ramadas and barbecues and what you would expect. We have open space that is actually double what your requirement is. You require 12% for a PAD. We have 24% of open space. And of that 24%, that 24% means that we have 32.4 acres that's involved in our open space. Of that, 19.5 acres is high and dry. So every hardscape amenity, the tot lots and everything, all of the trails that are sidewalk or meandering, and 20 acres of the 32 acres are going to be high and dry. I say that because I don't always stand before you with that much open space that's not retention, and I'm pleased that we have it. So having said that, we think this is a great parcel. It is one of the MOU properties, as you've noticed, as these have come through and gotten approved, they haven't gotten off the dime. When we started this property, we advised the property owners that by the time we get done with this, we should just hit the market coming back. Well, that was a while ago. And so we're re-advising them of exactly when that will happen. But we still believe it's absolutely the best land use for this corner. It fits in well with everything around it and should even improve it a little bit. So that's all I wanted to add, but I'm certainly happy to answer any questions you may have.
Vice Mayor.
Can you share that advice with me on exactly when that's going to happen?
Vice Mayor Tony, I certainly can, but I will do that privately.
If they're paying you for that advice, I'm
that's very private conversation.
Andy opened himself up for that one.
Soon.
No, these have been pretty status quo. It's 13 of 16, and I think we made a commitment quite a while ago to a number of these property owners out here on this side of town. We all worked very diligently, so I hope our silence isn't necessarily a gesture of not understanding the impact of the vote tonight, or my silence is. I don't think anybody's.
No, I think they love silence.
So, yeah.
It's good.
Upset. Point taken.
They do.
Do we need the?
That means we. Anyway, let me before. Okay, I'm going to ask the clerk to. Any further comments from the public on the rezone? Okay, would the clerk read the ordinance to rezone the property, please?
Adopt ordinance 08-1144, providing for conditional rezoning of 157.23 acres of property from the agricultural urban zoning district to the final planned area development zoning district for a residential and commercial development known as the Rose Gardens, located at the southeast corner of Citrus Road and Van Buren Street, adopting supplementary zoning map number 07-024 to provide for the change in zoning, providing separability, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, could I have a motion?
Move we adopt ordinance 08-1144 as read by the city clerk.
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Lord and a second from Councilmember Osborne. Councilmember Osborne.
Thank you for addressing my concern. I was the high and dry.
Oh, you were the high and dry.
And the layout of the plat, I appreciate it. I like it. I like the way that the parks and the systems are all spread out within every parcel. So I appreciate it.
Okay, over here. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Lord.
Aye.
Councilmember Holland.
Aye.
Councilmember Osborne.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Antoniak.
Aye.
Councilmember Cavalier.
Aye.
Mayor Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Passes 6-0.
Okay, now we'll move to the preliminary plat, and we'll ask for comments from the public. And Andy, any comment? Okay, comments from the public? Could I have a motion on the preliminary plat, please?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve pre-plat for Rose Gardens.
Second.
Motion from Vice Mayor Antoniak and a second from Councilmember Cavalier. Open for discussion. All those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it 6-0, and that completes it. Good to have you back here, Andy. It's been a while. Bob and I remember Andy.
I was going to say, I just remember his performances on the general plan, and unfortunately, that's been almost 8 years now, so.
Been a long time.
And at every meeting, remember?
And at every meeting. No, well, almost. Have a safe drive home.
Okay, now it's opportunity for council to make comments on current events. Any council member wish to comment? Councilmember Lohr?
We toured the Cancer Treatment Centers of America this week, and what can I say? It's absolutely beautiful facility, and I guess the most important part is compassionate care. I attended the West Valley Economic Development Symposium, and they gave the results of the labor force study, which I'm sure we'll get out to you, and it's very good. Today I had the opportunity to attend a solar conference or a meeting, and it was most interesting because we had the corporation commissioner spoke. There were a number, 18 in total, of solar companies were there. And it was fun for me because I was able to engage conversation in German with the Kyoto Clear Energy companies and also Austrian companies because I spoke the language. So I got the word and notification where Goodyear is and asked them to take several visits out here, talk to Harry about this. I also had the opportunity to talk to a company out of California that we are definitely trying to bring into Arizona. So it was a good day, shall I say, with being able to network. And Harry's going to take some of the suggestions that I came back and I learned that would be advantageous for our city to have in order to attract the solar companies.
The fact that she could do it in German. Oh. They're going to remember that. Let me tell you. They will remember that.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay, we'll now move to the manager's summary and short notice deployment by Brian Dahlke. John Fishback had to leave, so we understand you may want to postpone some of these, but Brian, it's in your hands.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, one of the items listed in your agenda is talk about the water residential audit proposal. We'll defer that until next Monday. So in terms of follow-up, there are a few. One is John Fishbach is planning on being at the National League of Cities conference that is in Orlando through the end of the week. So I'll be sitting in this chair for a handful more days. The other is you've asked Paula to recap all the awards and recognitions, so we're planning a 16-hour meeting to do that later. So stay tuned, because it'll take a while to get through all those. But seriously, we'll be looking at doing a recap. Vineyard Christian Fellowship, the special use zoning, that's being postponed until next Monday, the 17th. And the city attorney will be looking at some of the issues that council brought up relative to that. And it chokes her up every time I talk about it. The last item is November 17th. It will actually be the last time that we're in these council chambers. So we'll give you more information under communication next Monday as far as where the new council chambers are. We'll show it up on the screen for the public to know that. As well as some of the more important details about how many people, its seats, and those types of things. So we'll bring that next Monday, but probably not a lot of tears to shed as we move on to the next site. But that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
We allowed to tear out the seats and auction them off?
Gary's not here yet. We better get his chair.
Yeah, we better take. Yeah, can we take a chair over there and
Okay, any inquiries of staff by council? Okay, and I'll be out of town Tuesday through Friday at the NLC meeting, and Vice Mayor will be acting as mayor from tomorrow through Friday. Okay, meeting is adjourned.